Hi guys. Today I'm working on a quick abstract painting in my art journal just to get some painting in. I haven't been able to do a lot of large paintings lately, so I feel like I just have to keep things going. So I'm just starting by laying this first layer down at the moment. And for me, this part isn't about overthinking or anything, it's all about getting paint on the paper. But don't be fooled by that because even these first marks matter because they'll help me create variety in the future layers. So just keep watching and you'll see what I mean. So this past week, I've been doing a lot of thinking about feeling lost in the studio. I received an email from a previous student of mine, and she was just sharing how she was feeling and wondering if maybe a one on one session might help her a bit. And, I sat myself down and I just replied to her straight away because this is something that I can really relate to. And maybe you've been there too. You walk into your creative space and instead of feeling inspired, you just feel lost. It's like the canvases are waiting and the paints are all there, but that internal sense of direction is just gone. It's really frustrating. It's a hollow feeling. For me, this happened after I finished one of the most intense and meaningful series of paintings that I've ever created. I think I spent months on this series, pouring my soul onto the canvas, and I was working through my childhood and my relationship with my mom and so many heavy things that I had been carrying for years. So this series was a huge part of my healing journey. I put everything into it. And when I was finished, I just felt completely empty. So I would walk into my studio, stand in front of a blank canvas, and feel absolutely nothing. No spark, no connection, no energy. And, I would do anything. I tried to keep myself busy by cleaning brushes, rearranging things, moving canvases around, and trying to do those little things that had always helped me before when I wasn't in the mood to paint. But this time, painting, the one thing that I love more than anything in the world, felt totally out of reach. So I was kind of in the middle of this silence. I didn't have anything left to say because I guess I was finished. I had expressed what I needed to express, and that deep emotional drive that was behind everything that I was creating was gone. And that scared me big time. It was like, I didn't think I was going to be able to find my way back to that emotional part of painting. That's how empty I felt. And as an expressive abstract artist, I rely on my inner world. And if that wasn't there, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to paint again. But this is what I discovered. I was in the middle of a transition. I hadn't lost my creativity forever, obviously. I was just finished expressing that part of my life. And this was exactly what was going on with my student as well. So when we sat down and talked, it became really clear that she had been painting from such an intense emotional state for months. And now that that part was complete, it just left her feeling empty and lost. So I just wanted to put that out there because if you feel lost, you might be in this situation as well. But I want you to know that it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you've lost your creativity forever. It may just mean that you've finished one chapter and that you're waiting for the next one to arrive. It takes time to shift from one uh, way of thinking and painting to another. So I had to sit with that emptiness, and eventually I found a new way to connect again. So what I had been expressing was so intense that everything else felt unimportant for a while. It took time for me. I had to sit with that emptiness, and eventually I found new ways to connect again. because what I had been expressing was so emotionally intense that everything else felt kind of unimportant for a while. So I ended up turning to music, or should I say, music found me. So when I finally got the courage to pick up a paintbrush again, I decided that I would just sit in my journal and play. And I would put music on. And the one thing I noticed that was music always brought me straight back into the emotions of my memories. And when I think about it, it's been like that my whole life. So what happened was that I gave myself permission to work in my journal and just not, have any demands on myself. And more importantly, I gave myself permission to not know what was next. And that really helped. So let's have a look at this painting again. In the beginning of the video, I told you that the first layer matters. Did you notice how I was able to bring back that first round shape on the bottom? That's why the first layer matters. If you do something you like, maybe you paint over it intentionally or maybe even by mistake. But that's okay because you can always bring it back. If you didn't catch it, go back and watch. It's a great way to ensure that you keep the things that you love in your paintings, even if you do paint over some of it. All right, my dog is snoring and I have workers coming over to the house any minute. So I'm going to just put some music on and let you enjoy the rest of the painting. And I will see you next week.